Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Jaguar F-Type Convertible. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in Lehigh, Utah for giving me some time with this F-Type. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Jordan. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a supercharged 5-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 444 horsepower and then 428 pound-feet of torque. And as annoying as this hood is to close by yourself, it does look cool while it's open because it's front hinged. Now before we go over the front end, I do to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood itself, you guys can see the vents there on either side, which look pretty cool. And by the way, this hood is enormous. We've got these really sharp daytime running lights there with the headlights. Notice we've got the parking sensor integrated into that venting piece on the side, and then more parking sensors here with the front grille. And let's take a closer look at that front grille. You can see the Jaguar logo there front and center, and we got our R dynamic badge off to the side. And putting it all together, this thing looks sinister. Come around the side here, tire and wheel setup is 255, 35, 20 in the front, and then 295, 30, 20 in the rear. And then you guys can see with the wheel design all blacked out with kind of like larger spokes. We also have the red brake caliper, which I think looks great. This is pretty cool with a little Jaguar on it. And then you guys can see with the mirror cap how that is white. And then notice the door handles, they pop out, which is also another cool thing. Now putting it all together, I think it looks really good, even in convertible format. And I'm usually not a fan of convertibles, to be honest. So here's our key fob. You guys can see it says Jaguar. I had to say it in the British format. Sorry if I just offended anyone. But anyways, we've got our unlock function, or lock function. That's for the lights. And then this is just to open up the trunk. Now taking a look at the trunk cargo space, it is pretty limited, and this is one of the downsides of the convertible, is the fact that, well, you got trunk space, but it's not a lot. That's pretty cool how that's all blacked out at the top. And then you guys can see we've got like our P450 badge, and then I love the taillights here on the F-Type. Crazy exhaust tips. We'll have an exhaust clip in a little bit, and then you guys can see F-Type there on the other side. But yeah, putting it all together, I do think that, again, as a convertible, it looks pretty good. I do prefer the coupe still, but this looks cool. Now taking a look at the front door panel here, you guys can see the leather trim here at the top, and then look at the stitching that goes across, and you guys can see it's perforated down below. Definitely a really cool look. And then we've got all of our seat adjustments here on the door panel, memory seat functionality as well, and then our window controls just down below. And then here are these seats. You guys can see you got the Jag logo there at the top. And then look at the design down below, and then perforated all down the center portion of the seat as well. Oh, and did I mention it's got pretty cool pedals right there. And then you guys can see we've got this for the trunk. You've got your lane departure for the lights, and then the steering wheel is power adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, we've got really nice leather trim all around with our darker stitching there in the center portion. We do have paddle shifters here on the back for the 8-speed automatic, as well as our cruise control, heated steering wheel button, voice command controls, and then some controls for the center stack. And then of course, we've got our turn signal light stock and then our windshield wiper stock. Now we have our full digital gauge cluster here in the center. Notice we got like the map view there on the side, but we can pull up the little menu tab here and then also scroll through different bits of info on the vehicle there on the left side. So overall, really usable. Now in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel, and resolution is solid. Now as for the rest of the infotainment system, first off, response time with the screen is fantastic. It's easy to use. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And of course we have our dynamic setup. We have to be in dynamic mode to access that. So here we go. Pop in there, and then notice that we can adjust everything with the dynamic setup, and then you obviously have the factory setup as well. And well, speaking of those drive modes, we've got a snow mode. You guys can see that gave us a little animation there. And then you've got like your normal mode, and then of course we've got the dynamic mode, which makes everything red and aggressive. Now this has the fancy climate controls that do multiple functions. So right now it's on temperature, and then if I press it in, this will let me adjust the heated or cooled seats, which is another nice feature. And then you got more climate controls switches down below, which the feel on them is really high quality. And then here in the center, we've got our shifter for the 8-speed automatic transmission. We've got our drive mode select, volume control here, parking brake. This is for the top to put it down. We'll do that in just a moment. This is for the spoiler to raise it or lower it. Your auto stop start. That's for the exhaust to open or close the valves. And then you've got your stability control. Some cup holder action here. And then we actually do have a center console, which is nice. Got some USBs in there. And then you guys can see the little storage net here behind it. And then notice we press this and boom, we got a glove box. And look at the dash, like really nice leather trim all over. Okay, so we're gonna do top down. So we're gonna just push this down right here. It's gonna roll the windows down and it's gonna roll all of this back, as you can see. Ooh, click. Should give us a confirmation. There we go, roof latched. And with the top down, this looks like a James Bond car. I mean, seriously, I could definitely imagine 007 rocking this thing. That is beautiful. And let's quickly go over the window sticker here. So you guys can see base MSRP $87,200. This has a few options added to it. Total MSRP on this $102,180. And the Land Rover here in Lehigh does not mark up any of their cars, so there's no markup over MSRP. Anyways, let's drive it. Okay, well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. So here's your visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors just do have blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And we're gonna set off with the top down for the initial parts. And then we will put the top up after a little bit. And this is probably gonna be very cold because I think it's like 30 something degrees outside. Oh, it says 40 degrees. Dude, it's summer. 40 degrees, that's basically summer temperature. I'm just kidding. But maybe I'll turn on my heated seat here just to play it safe. But anyways, seat comfort's actually pretty good. These seats are a little bit on the firm side of things. It's not like uncomfortable, but the leather's definitely kind of like not the leather, but the padding's definitely firmer. The leather's very soft, which I really appreciate. And I love how like easy this is to drive. I will say though, that window sticker, I probably should have taken it off the window because it's getting in the way of my visibility quite a bit. Now, one thing to note is the F-Type is not super low to the ground, but it's low enough that you're gonna want to angle it out of driveways and stuff. Super smooth, like with the ride quality. And obviously with the powertrain as well. We're gonna open up the valves. When you hear that exhaust. I will say the top-down experience is pretty fun. There's probably some buffeting with the GoPro, so sorry about that. I can feel it buffeting. I can feel the wind buffeting on my head. So if I was only like, sometimes I wish, this might sound weird, sometimes I wish I was like 5'7", because if I was that short, then I would be able to like have perfect point of view. I'm too tall for like perfect point of view with these videos. And if I was also 5'7", my head wouldn't be poking out the top. And so then I wouldn't have the wind going through my hair, I suppose. Let's pop into the dynamic mode. So dynamic confirmed. Ooh, that sounds so good. I really love this interior, by the way, like really nice leather, and I like the two-tone design because I feel like it matches with this car very well, because again, the exterior is black and white, so the interior being black and white, I think it works really well. This is one of the cooler specs I've seen on an F-Type. And something I want to mention is just like the fit and finish on this is fantastic. I remember like maybe like, you know, these cars from like, not the F-Type because the F-Type's not that old, but like, you know, Jags and stuff from like 10-15 years ago, they just didn't have like the fit and finish that they have today. They feel so much more high quality, which I really appreciate. It makes the car feel a lot more premium, that's for sure. It also put it in second gear for some reason. Anyways, woo! Listen to that. With the top down, I mean, you can hear so much more. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm gonna shut up for a second for you guys. Wow. What a sound. What a sound. That is just phenomenal. This, I mean, let me tell you, the regular F-Type sounds great, but the top-down experience, I mean, I think, gosh, I'm not a convertible guy. I think with this car it might be, though, to be honest. I mean, if you're gonna daily drive it, yeah, you're probably gonna want to get the coupe, but if you're just gonna have this as like a weekend car, you can't, I mean, that, you guys heard, you can't really beat that sound. Now let's do the top up here. So I believe we can do it rolling pretty slowly. I actually don't know the actual limit, so we're just gonna do this at like 3 miles an hour so I don't break anything. I know some of these modern cars you can go like 25 miles an hour to do the top, but I didn't look this up before, so we're not gonna risk it for the biscuit. But yeah, I mean, that was, I mean, we were moving at 5 miles an hour, but I mean, that was a pretty quick experience. Now we're still gonna keep it dynamic. I wanna see the sound difference with the top up now to just listen. But gosh, that's such a good sound. I want to make sure the valves are still open. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sounds good, but it's not the same as with the top down. If I open up the windows a little bit, let's see if that gets it. I mean, a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, it's just, when you have that top all the way down, it makes such a big difference. So yeah, summing things up here, I'm not a convertible guy. I really am not. I like coupes because I like the design. I like that like solid, rigid feel you get, but this still feels really rigid for a convertible. It doesn't like the top's not rattling or anything, which is things very common with convertibles. Like it feels super solid. They've done a good job with the build on this. But yeah, it just transforms the experience. Like it's, it makes this, I mean, this V8 sounds crazy already, but like it just, I mean, it's right there behind you. You can hear it so well. And so, yeah, don't sleep on the F-Type convertible. It's actually pretty cool.